Chapter 4. John Doe. John Doe's apartment was on a narrow street in a poor part of the city. They took the elevator to the 6th floor. Doe's apartment was in the front of the building, but Somerset thought that even if he had seen them coming, Doe wouldn't know who they were. Mills knocked hard on the door. Somerset heard a noise, but it didn't come from inside the apartment. He turned and saw a dark shape in the shadow of a door. Then he saw the gun. "Mills!" he shouted. They both hit the floor at the same time. The noise hurt Somerset's ears. Big holes appeared in the door of Doe's apartment. Hollow bullets, thought Somerset. He imagined Mills getting shot. He would have to tell Tracy. But Mills had pulled his gun and run after Doe before Somerset could even think of stopping him. Be careful, he thought. He was worried for Tracy. Somerset followed Mills down the stairs. Doe was standing on the floor below, his gun in his hand. Mills jumped back just as Doe fired. The bullet hit the wall close to Somerset. Mills waited for another shot. Instead, he heard a door close. As fast as he could, he ran through the door and saw Doe running. Doe pushed a woman away and ran into her apartment. "Police!" Mills shouted as he followed Doe into the apartment. He saw Doe climbing through a window onto the fire escape. Mills ran to the window. Doe fired again, breaking the glass. When Mills looked again, he couldn't see Doe, but he could hear him running. Out on the fire escape, Mills ran and jumped to the ground. When he reached the street, he wanted to scream. There were people everywhere. In this crowd, he would never see Doe. Then, suddenly, impossibly, he saw him. Doe was waiting to cross the street, looking for a break in the traffic. Mills ran straight into the street. Cars and trucks rushed past him, the drivers shouting at him. Doe could see that Mills was following him. He ran through the traffic and disappeared into a narrow, dark street. Mills was close behind him, running fast. Suddenly, something hit Mills in the face. He dropped his gun. He heard it hit the ground. Then he fell. The pain made him weak. A board, he thought. A piece of wood. He didn't see it coming, but that was all he could imagine. Doe had hit him with a board. He was sure that his nose was broken. He was coughing blood, trying to open his eyes. He saw a pair of legs and a hand picking up his gun. He tried to reach it and get it back, but the pain was too bad. Then he could feel his own gun pressed against his face. His mouth was full of blood. He couldn't see. He was helpless. After a moment, the gun was gone. He was still alive. Then he felt something hit his chest. Then again, and again. Bullets. Doe was throwing the bullets at him, emptying his gun. He heard Doe running again and began feeling for the gun and the bullets like a blind man. "Mills!" It was Somerset running toward him. "You all right?" Somerset knelt down next to Mills. "I'll call an ambulance." "No, I'm fine." Mills got to his feet. What happened? Somerset wanted to know, but Mills was too angry to talk. He wiped the blood from his eyes and ran past Somerset as fast as the pain let him. Somerset tried to keep up with Mills, tried to get him to tell what had happened. But Mills was too angry. He was going to do something stupid. Somerset knew it. The broken door of Doe's apartment opened easily. Inside, everything was dark, because the walls were painted black. So were the windows. The living room had only a lamp and a chair in it. The next room they looked into was also painted black. There was one small bed with a dirty sheet on it. In the middle of the room was a small desk and a lamp. Inside the desk were neat rows of empty medicine bottles and boxes of bullets. Mills saw that some of the bullets were the hollow type that are called cop killers. In a corner of the room was a small table. On it, there was a careful arrangement of things around a large glass jar. In the jar was a human hand. Victor Dworkin, thought Mills. Oh, man. Mills found the bathroom. It had only a soft red light. Doe had made it into a photographic darkroom. Film hung all around. Photos were pinned to the wall everywhere. There were pictures of Peter Eubanks, still alive. Eli Gould, cutting into his own body. Victor Dworkin, his face asking the camera for pity. There were also pictures of a blonde woman sitting on a bed. She wasn't hurt, but she looked very uncomfortable. Mills could see how much work and preparation Doe put into his killing. There were also photos of Somerset and Mills at Dworkin's apartment. Suddenly, a phone rang. Mills ran out of the bathroom. Somerset was running the other way. "Where is it?" he said. Mills found the phone in the bedroom. He picked it up. "Hello?" he said. Nothing. Someone was there, but he wasn't saying anything. Mills said, "Hello?" again. "I admire you," said a thin voice finally. "I don't know how you found me. I admire you detectives more every day." "Okay, John," said Mills. "Tell me—" "No, no. You listen to me. I'll have to change my plans now. I just had to call to say how clever I think you are, and to apologize for hurting one of you." Mills was really angry, but he didn't answer. "I'd like to say more," Doe went on, "but I don't want to spoil the surprise." "What do you mean, John?" "Until next time," said Doe. "John, wait!" But Doe was gone. In another room, Somerset discovered John Doe's library. 3 of the walls were covered with books, the same kind of books that Doe had borrowed from the public library. Somerset wondered how Doe found time to read them all. One wall was covered with Doe's notebooks. There were thousands of them. each one with about 250 pages, all filled with Doe's own writing, and with photos and pictures cut from magazines. Mills thought that these notebooks were crazy, but Somerset disagreed. He thought that they were horrible, but interesting. Doe's writings frightened Somerset, but he spent hours reading the notebooks, trying to understand Doe's thinking. Doe didn't like all the horrible things that people had to live with these days. Somerset agreed with Doe about a lot of this. That was why he wanted to retire and live in the country. But Doe wanted to change things. The problem was that Doe was also horrible. Murdering people couldn't make anything better. Mills came into the room where Somerset was reading. "Does he say anything about the murders?" he asked. "No, I haven't found anything yet," said Somerset. "Do you have anything new?" Mills showed him a photo of a blonde woman standing on a street corner. "There are pictures of her in the bathroom, with other pictures of Doe's victims." Having your picture taken by Doe wasn't a good sign. "Any idea who she is?" asked Somerset. Mills shook his head. "Whoever she is, she caught Doe's eye." "Better check it with the office," said Somerset. "Maybe they know who she is. Perhaps we'll get lucky and find her while she's still breathing." Somerset looked at his watch. It was past 11. "Better go home now and get some sleep," he said. Chapter 5. Lust. An hour later, Somerset was lying in bed when the phone rang. It was Tracy. He looked at the clock. It was after midnight. "Tracy, is everything all right?" he asked. Yes, everything's fine. I'm sorry to call you so late. I need to talk to someone. Can you meet me somewhere? Maybe tomorrow morning?" "I don't understand, Tracy," said Somerset. "You sound worried." "I feel really stupid, but you're the only person I know here." "I'll help you if I can, Tracy," he said. He couldn't imagine what he could do for her. "If you can meet me tomorrow, call me. Please. I have to go now. Good night." She hung up. The next morning, Somerset met Tracy in the Parthenon coffee shop near the precinct house. "So, what's on your mind, Tracy?" he asked. "You know this city," she began. "You've been here a long time. I haven't." Somerset nodded. "It can be a hard place," he said. "I haven't been sleeping well since we came here. I don't feel safe, even at home." He didn't know what to tell her. Maybe she should talk more with her husband. "Talk to him about it," he said. "He'll understand." "I don't know why I asked you to come," she said. Her hands were shaking. "You know that I'm a teacher," she went on. "I've been trying to get work in some of the schools here, but the schools are horrible." She was starting to cry. "What's really worrying you, Tracy?" he said. I I'm going to have a baby. Tracy, said Somerset, I'm not the one to talk to about this. I hate... Mills and Somerset pushed past the crowd of people. Inside, the walls were painted red, and the red lights made it more red. The red light and the beat of the heavy metal rock music reminded Mills of a scene from hell. Detectives? A confused cop led them to a room with a strong light that went on and off quickly. They're in there, said the cop, stopping at the door. But I don't want to go in there again. I'll wait right here. Mills stepped carefully into the room. He was confused by the light. The music was just as loud in there. 2 medical workers were trying to calm a man with no clothes on. He was about 55 years old, with dark gray hair. His hands were tied behind his back. On a large bed in the middle of the room was a body covered with a sheet. There was a lot of blood on the sheet. Some of the victim's blonde hair hung over the edge of the bed. It made Mills think of Tracy, and that made him angry. Why did anything in this hell make him think of his wife? He made me do it, the gray-haired man shouted, fighting with the medical workers. He had a gun! The word lust was written on the wall over the bed. Mills was so angry when he saw it that his hands were shaking. Somerset was looking at the body. You won't want to see that more than once, warned the medical worker. He had a gun, shouted the suspect again. He made me do it! Mills was looking over Somerset's shoulder. What they saw made them feel sick. There were no marks on the top part of the body, but lower down. He asked me if I was married, said the suspect. He was quieter now. He had a gun in his hand. Where was the girl? Somerset asked. The girl? What do you mean? Was she on the street? She was on the bed. Sitting on the bed. Who tied her down? Somerset asked. You or him? He had a gun. A gun. The man was starting to cry. He had the gun in my mouth. Mills remembered the taste of the gun in his own mouth after Doe had hit him in the face. His stomach was turning over. He took out his notebook and turned to the page where he had written the 7 deadly sins. Another one down, he thought, his hands shaking. 3 more to come. Envy, wrath, and pride. He looked at the blood on the sheet. What next? He thought. Holy God, what next?